A Florida State University program in interdisciplinary computing production.
I have a website. This is actually one of your assignments. It's the CSS assignment. It's my demo of that. And it's on my computer here somewhere in all of this. So notice here, as we're looking at things here, this is the PIC website right here. PIC is the program in interdisciplinary computing, my program. And that has a folder of itself. The whole website is contained in one folder. And in here we have things like index.php, which is our main website. We have a folder called courses. In folder I have a folder called 2011. So everything again is organized into this hierarchy from the most general to the most specific. But I want to go on iSpace. Actually, I want to go on my cruiser. Here's my cruiser. What you're asked to do in my cruiser is just the little thumb drive that I brought. What you're asked to do in this assignment, the first thing, and you're going to kind of set up your file, your information architecture for our course. You're asked to create a folder on your computer called CGS 2821. Okay? All of your coursework you're going to put in that folder. And what's important about this is that on iSpace, which is our web server, you're going to be asked to create a folder there called CGS 2821. And for the HTML assignment, you're going to be asked to create a folder in CGS 2821 called HTML5. And you're going to be asked to create another folder in CGS 2821 called CSS. Each of these folders contains one of your projects. Okay? And so for the CSS assignment, you're going to be asked to create 2 web pages and use a style sheet to control how the colors and the fonts and everything that are used in both of these web pages. And you're going to be asked to include a couple images, and you're going to keep those images in a folder. Okay? And this is your website. So we can't see the hierarchy here very well. Mac computers don't have a good hierarchy view. But you have CSS, and in CSS you have 3 files, index.html, page2.html, and a style sheet called style.css. And then you have another folder called images, and in that folder you have 2 files that have something to do with your topic. All right. Now what's important about this, well, let's take a look at this. This is, we kind of looked at this earlier. Let's open up Chrome. All right, so this is the page. And as we scroll down, you'll see there's a link to the next page. Notice it kind of lights up. So we can click over to the next page. Here we have a YouTube video.
I need somebody help, not just anybody. I need someone help.
The Beatles on Ed Sullivan. That was just a little tyke. Then we have a table here. We have references, citations, where I found this information. Notice that instead of using a round bullet, I've used the gold star here. That's part of the power of CSS. It allows you to replace bullets with images of your own design. And then a link that goes back to the previous page. And again, we have a mouse over where it changes colors, and we're back to the previous page. This website, as I've already indicated, has several files. It has this file, index.html. It has this one. This isn't a file. This is a feed right from YouTube, so we don't need to store this video. That's the nice thing about YouTube. But this image here, we have to store. This is on our computer, and it's not part of the file. So, and also, these little stars that we use for our bulleted list we have to store. That's why in our images folder we have the Beatles and we have star. Tiny little star. I'm making a point here. I'm in a roundabout way. I'm going to make this point sooner or later. Now I can open this in Komodo because I want to show you this the code here. Hang it. It's all worth it. Really simple page. It's a real simple page. But what I wanted to show you is, first off, right here, I have a link, and I've indicated to use style.css. Okay, over here on our page, there's style.css. It's incredibly important that style.css stays in the same folder as index.html. Because if it isn't, when index.html tries to go find that file, it's going to say, I don't have a style sheet. So let's see what happens, for instance. I'm going to take this file and move it one level up. It's no longer where it used to be. I'm going to come back to my page, and I'm going to refresh it. Looks pretty boring now. Doesn't look at all like it did with that style sheet attached. I come back over here. I put style.css back in the same folder as index.html, and I refresh index, and now it's applying those styles. All right, so that's a real important file. Let's do another game. Here's my images. I'm going to take the Beatles out of here and put them here in with index. It's no longer in the images folder. Well, first off, I want to show you in Komodo, right here, here's my image tag. I say, go get this image. It's in the images folder, and it's called Beatles.jpg. So I'm telling it where to go from a current location. And the current location is where the index file is. Well, I moved that image, so now when I look for it, it's no longer in the file. The browser can't find it. Let me try something else. I like experimenting with this stuff. I'm going to put Beatles back in images, and I'm going to change the name of this file, and honestly I don't know what will happen, to capital B. Okay, it still says Beatles, but we have an uppercase B instead of a lowercase b. Now I'm going to come over here and do a refresh. It works okay. It's making an assumption here. But I'm going to keep that uppercase B, and we're going to see what trouble it causes for us. And the reason it causes trouble is because in Komodo, when it says, go get this image, it says Beatles with a lowercase b. Okay? Right now, this website's on my Mac, and my Mac is saying, he probably messed up like he always does. I'll just grab this. It must be okay. That's not the case with servers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my FTP program, which is like SSH, the ones you guys are going to use for your course. I'm going to go into iSpace, into my account on iSpace. All right, I'm there. I'm going to go in the HTML folder, and I'm going to create a folder here called, let's just call it Beatles. Now over here, I have to somehow find this jump drive. Here we go. This will work. There's my cruiser. All right. This is CGS. It's in CGS 2821. It's in the CSS folder. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into that Beatles folder over here. Double click that. So I'm in Beatles. And I'm going to drag over this whole CSS folder. Wow, it's nice and quick. So it's all there. I took all the files in my folder over here. Now I'm going to go and look at it on the server. iSpace, and this is in my own directory, and we called it Beatles. And then we called it CSS. And the file is called index.html. And hit it. It doesn't like, it couldn't find that Beatles image. The server doesn't like this stuff. There's a lot of things the server doesn't like about images. It wouldn't like if I called this image and this happens so much with students, Beatles space photo.jpg. If in my code, if I change this to be Beatles space photo, it would still crash because Unix, which is the operating system running on our web server, does not allow spaces in file names. It doesn't allow it, so that would mess it up. All of these things kind of tie together. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to this image, and I'm going to call this lowercase beatles.jpg. So I change the name here. Now it works with what it's called in the HTML file. I can refresh this, and the image comes up. So the points that I've made in this example is the files that you have in your file hierarchy have to stay in the same location related to your web page. And the first rule is anytime you start a new web page or website, create a folder for that site and put everything in the same folder. It's a real common error for students to go and get a photo from their Photos folder on Windows and say, oh, I want to use this. It's in a totally different location on your computer. All of the files have to be in that one location. Make sure not to put any spaces in your image names. Make sure to be careful when you use the case. Make sure that you don't use lower cases in one place and then refer to it as uppercase elsewhere. All of those things are ultimately important. The other thing I wanted to mention to you is that what's confusing here is look at this where I have it on the server. Okay, this is my home directory. I logged into iSpace. This is HTML, and this is the Beatles, and this is CSS. So it seems like I should tell my browser to go to kbaldoff HTML Beatles CSS. But where did I tell it to go? kbaldoff Beatles /CSS. I didn't put HTML in there. And the reason that is this little wavy character. Anybody know what that's called?
Tilde.
Yeah, good job. You all know that? Some people say tilde. Some people say tilde. I say tilde. That tilde tells the browser to go to the person's home directory and go into the HTML folder. So that kind of represents your HTML folder. Tilde, your username, means your HTML folder. And from there, just direct it within your HTML folder to where it needs to go. Yeah, John?
Definition of home directory.
Yeah, home directory is, that's a good question. On networked systems, like web servers, and also this is the same as like in professional hosting companies like DreamHost. When you get an account, they give you an account on their server along with a lot of other people's account. So what they do is they name a folder on the server after your username. And when you go to log on the server, you can't see anything else on the server because it's a secure server. All you're given is everything within that directory they've created for you. And that directory is called your home directory.
For more information about FSU's program in interdisciplinary computing, visit www.pic.fsu.edu.